Okay, it's the big one. It's the Vikings season preview. Um, I'm on record already saying that I think the Vikings are going to win the North again, regardless of the shenanigans that took place in the Thursday night opener. I have them on 10-7. Um, just overall, I, this still goes back to 2022. They weren't frauds. They won their games on merit. They didn't win in the playoffs, and that sucks that they didn't win in the playoffs. But any honest person watching that playoff game knows why we lost. Because the defense didn't show up. I think, and I will go to my grave thinking that Donatel didn't give a shit about the 2022 Vikings. His only interest was in cashing a few paychecks before retirement. And the fact that he has not, to my knowledge, got a job anywhere else in the NFL right now kind of speaks to that. I've been very excited for this Viking season since the day they hired Brian Flores, because you could not have hired a better guy to run the defense. And that's the big wild card for this Viking season is how I have no doubt that Brian Flores is going to improve matters significantly. The question is how much. How much can he do in one off season? We brought in a couple of very promising free agents. Everything I've heard about Byron Murphy has been very good. Davenport, if he's healthy, he should be big time. And the sensation of camp, Ivan Pace. We'll see what he can bring. But we did lose some guys. We did lose some veterans on the defense. But veteran leadership didn't seem to do shit last year. Like, what good was veteran leadership when we were letting Daniel Jones, lead 5-play touchdown drives on us, in our home stadium? It didn't seem to matter. Like, and not to say that Kendricks and Pat P and Tomlinson and a couple of these other guys didn't make plays during the season that mattered. Duke Shelley, funny how Vikings fans were all mad about the Duke Shelley departure, and then he didn't even make it with the Raiders. I don't know if he might have signed to their practice squad or something, but it's telling that a guy who we were almost looking at as a savior of the secondary went to another team and got cut before the season even started. These were dire straits for the defense last year. It wasn't like 2020 when we were starting, like eighth stringers at the end of the season. This was more of a coaching thing, and Brian Flores is going to make this defense at least a relevant entity. I'm not saying I think they're gonna be a top 10 defense. Not at all. If they can get to middle of the pack, that's going to be huge, because I have no doubt that this offense is going to be extremely good again. So I know this is going to be already kind of a meandering, rambling video. But yeah, I think this is going to be, I have them on 10-7. I think that could be conservative if the defense really makes a big jump. And obviously health is a factor, but we do have Daniel Hunter back. We've got pieces in the secondary that could be good. I know a lot of Vikings fans have just decided that Lewis Cine can never play football and he'll never be any good, and that Andrew Booth can never play. We'll see if they can stay healthy. Health has destroyed a lot of prospects over the years. Like, that's if you can't stay healthy, it's never going to work out. But I'm not ready to give up on those guys, and I think we've got some. Blackman's looked pretty good, I think, by all accounts. Coming in, like, he's got stuff to work with, and he's not going to just have guys just stand out in the secondary and not do anything this year. This is not going to be 2022, where the defense was just a passive waste of time, and maybe once in a while someone just makes a play kind of independent of the scheme. I think there will be games this year where we come away saying, wow, the defense really won us that game. And I don't think we really said that last year. There were games where the defense would make a play here or a play there. We didn't say that. There were very few games last year where anyone came away, even early before things completely fell apart with the defense. Like, there were very few games where anyone was coming away saying, "Wow, the defense really, really did it." Maybe the opener, the Green Bay game, that was about it. Um, and obviously, we had Zadarius Smith productive early, and then he got hurt. But there was nothing was done to adjust to, you know, injuries or shortages or anything. It was just, we all saw it. I mean, Daniel Jones is not as good a quarterback as we made him look in the playoff game. And obviously there were problems going into the playoffs. But it was brutal. And I don't expect them to be brutal this year. Now, I'm not saying Brian Flores is God and he is going to just take this team and elevate them into an elite defense in 1 year with, kind of a average amount of roster turnover. That's just not how it works. I'm not expecting it. But I think they can be competitive. And if they can be competitive in games, that should be all we need because, again, allowing for injuries, which you never know what might happen, this offense should be one of the best in the NFL. Even with Dalvin Cook gone, I know, Dalvin Cook was kind of a divisive figure in terms of people talking about his value. He's still a valuable player. He's still a good running back. He'll probably have a good season with the Jets, but I don't think his absence is going to kill us by any means. I mean, when has that ever happened where a running back leaves and it just kills the team? The Lions were good when Barry Sanders left. It just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. And I like the committee that we got. I think Madison is not an elite running back, but he will be productive. And I think Ty Chandler will be very good. And we'll see who else pops up. Gaskin. I don't know what we're going to get out of him, but we'll see. I think they're gonna be able to run the ball. They're gonna focus more on running the ball. That's why they signed Josh Oliver, who should help just with everything, pass blocking and run game. Which in turn will open things up even more for the passing game. And yeah, we lost Adam Thielen, but Addison looks like a fucking stud. As long as he can keep his speed at legal levels, I think we'll be just fine with him. I'm not expecting him to have a 1998 Randy Moss rookie year, but I think he's going to be very good, and I think he's going to whether he'll be officially the number 2 guy or it'll be Osborne. It's kind of irrelevant. They're going to use everybody. There's going to obviously JJ's going to get another monster season. Will he get 2,000 yards? I don't think so. 2,000 yards is just so much to ask for. He'll get his contract. I know that's going to happen soon. But there's no reason to be like, oh my god, if he has to get 2,000 yards, he'll get what he gets, and he'll be very good. He'll probably be the best receiver in football again. And I'm a believer in KJ Osborne. That's why I really didn't want them to go with a wide receiver in the first round, because I think Osborne's going to be just fine. But I think he'll still get his. I think Addison's going to be an incredible weapon. Obviously, we're going to have a full season of T.J. Hawkinson, which is going to be incredibly big. This is going to be a very, very good offense. And, the unnamed man, Kirk Cousins, he's still here. And, there's a chance this could be his last year here. He's going to be, or he is, as of now, he's a pending free agent. We've seen it in many sports. When you're in the walk year, sometimes you really go all out. Not saying that Kirk, would only be motivated by his next free agent contract, but it's going to just add that little bit to what he does this year. And I think he's going to have, and of course it's his first time with a second year in a system in 6-7 years. I think because it was the last year in Washington was his last time that he had like a consecutive season in the same system. I mean, and you know, he was great last year. I expect him to be great this year. Will the offensive line hold up? We're bringing everybody back. O'Neal will be back from getting hurt on the cow pasture in Lambeau, but he's ready. I mean, he's not even on the injury report. They don't have anybody on the injury report for week 1, so we'll see how long that lasts. It won't last, but well, I think they have a couple guys with like minor things, but um, he's going to be back. And there was certainly a lot of doubt when he got hurt. The timing when he got hurt that he would even be able to be back by week 1 this year. But he's back. Darisaw on the other end, and then the interior, which is always an issue. We brought back Bradbury, somewhat controversially, but they like him, and he was better last year, and it was noticeable than when he was out, when he got hurt towards the end of the season. I think the big thing is Ed Ingram. Can he make a step up? Like, no one's even talking about the possibility that Ed Ingram could improve as a second-year player. It's like he was thrown right in there as a third-round draft pick as a rookie, and he started, I believe, every game. And yeah, he had some problems because he was a rookie. Doesn't mean you can't make an improvement in year 2. Any position can make an improvement in year 2, even something as seemingly simple as an offensive lineman. So I'm not writing him off. If he has a similar year to last year, then Kirk's probably going to get hit a lot. He can take it, but eventually those hits do add up, and we saw it on the Netflix show that he has to go to some great lengths to kind of recover from some of these games. But Kirk's tough. He's gonna fight through it, and hopefully we don't have a situation where he's getting hit as much this year, because every quarterback can be made worse with a bad offensive line. Doesn't matter who it is. Could be Kirk Cousins, could be Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes had some issues in the opener because his offensive line was getting wrecked a little bit. So, but I think the offensive line will be at least where it was last year. Hopefully improved. Hopefully just the scheme and just a year or 2 of O'Connell too. He's got a year under his belt as an actual head coach and play caller. We'll see what he can cook up. Hopefully he's improved his short yardage play calling. That was something that was a real struggle at times last year, and we see it with on the opener. Like, coaches are weird with some of these short yardage plays. They always want to get cute. I don't understand it. Like it's a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1, and you hand the ball off deep. Like, just go mash through and get it. And we had that stupid play in the playoff game where it was like a pitch to Jefferson, and then he threw it back to Kirk. It was like, why even do it? Like, what are you doing? So, no, I think this offense will be, top 10, maybe top 5. I mean, they could be. It would not shock me, and they might have to be if Flores doesn't get the defense improved enough. But I think he's going to get it improved enough to where it's mid-pack. And the mid-pack could mean they're the 20th best defense, but that would be like a large improvement considering they were either 31st or 32nd, depending on which thing you go by. Last year was very bad. The schedule, everyone's freaking out because we got this incredibly tough schedule. Well, I mean, it's not that much tougher than last year. Yeah, it's a first place schedule, so we get a couple. But I mean, we played the Eagles last year. We're playing them this year. We got the 49ers, but, it's here, and who knows what the 49ers are going to be. Everyone's freaking out about those 4 games: Philadelphia, San Francisco, Kansas City, Cincinnati, because we play all 4 of the finalists from last year. We're going to win 2 of those games. I don't know which 2, probably not at Philly, but so it'll probably be 2 of the other 3, but we're going to win a couple of those games. And, the rest of the schedule, like, I think the NFC North is a little better this year, so, I think we lost 2 in the division last year. I hope we can match that. Obviously, like, the game at Lambeau was such a joke and a disaster, and I don't know how much the Vikings even really cared going into that game, but we'll never know. But hopefully that doesn't happen again. We got the the at Chicago, at Green Bay games are a little earlier in the year, so that we don't have to deal with any snow. Hard to think about snow at this point, but it could be a thing. And then we get the 2 Lions games at the very end, and I feel like I'm going to be ranting about the Lions all season, but regardless of what we saw in the opener, I don't think the Lions are going to just like run away with anything. They'll be in this thing, and those games will matter, but they will matter. Those 2 of the last 3 weeks. So, schedule a little tougher. Greg Joseph is back as their kicker. We'll see what he has to do. I mean, again, hopefully we won't have these close games. People are, that's another one of the things that's driven me nuts is people talking about, well, they were 11-0 in 1-score games. Well, they're not going to be 11-0 again. Well, maybe they won't have to play 11 1-score games because maybe their defense will not let, these games become 1-score games, because a few of those 1-score games that we won last year, they would not have become 1-score games if the defense had not, pissed down their fucking leg. If they had done their job, and the offense, some of the games were 1-score because the offense didn't put teams away. I expect that to be a little bit better this year too. But we're not going to go. No, we're not going to go 11-0 in 1-score games. No team had ever done that before, so of course we're not going to do it again. Maybe we won't have to play 11 1-score games. I mean, most NFL games are decided by 1 score. So, if let's say we play 9 1-score games and we go 7-2 in those, that's still pretty good. I mean, I'm going to be infuriated for the rest of my life the way that the 2022 Vikings were denigrated for winning close games, because it's never been talked about that way with any other team in the history of football. It's always been a virtue. No one's ripping the Lions for only winning by a point last night. It just drives me nuts. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to win 13 games again. They've only won 13 games in the history of the franchise a few times. And they certainly haven't gone back to back like that. I mean, they had 14 game schedule in the 70s, so they probably would have done it then. But it's hard to win that many games. 10-7, I think, is a pretty reasonable pick for the Vikings, because I think they'll be as good a team and probably better, but maybe a worse record. But I still think that's going to be enough to get them in the playoffs and probably win the division. And yeah, I don't know what more to say. I already did some Vikings preview in my overall NFL video, but yeah, I mean, I have really high expectations for this offense, and at points last year they met those expectations, because I had very high expectations last year too, and they were very good, but they did have lulls here and there. Hopefully we can get rid of some of the lulls. We can be a little more consistent, putting teams away, and that also involves the defense shutting it down. Like even this game against Tampa, which, fuck it, I might as well do a little overall week 1 preview. We got Tampa Bay coming in here. First game of the post-Brady era for them. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback. There's not much expectation from Tampa Bay, but then you can't take anyone for granted, because if the defense isn't improved, well, we let some mediocre teams hang with us last year too, and we'll see what they can cook up. I mean, this is a very big game, because they do have a somewhat daunting early schedule. I mean, they got obviously then the short week to Philly, which I don't have a lot of hope for winning that game under the circumstances. But if you start 0-1 losing at home to Tampa Bay, then you're staring at a very quick 0-2. You could be the first 0-2 team in the league. And then you got the Chargers coming in here, and then the Chiefs, who hopefully play as stupid, which is a month from today, I believe. A month from today, Chiefs coming here. Hopefully they play as stupid in that game as they did last night. Hopefully Kadarius Toney is still a Chief by then, so he can help us out by dropping every pass thrown his way. But yeah, I mean, so 10-7 for the season for the Vikings, and yeah, I think obviously this weekend should be one of the 10. I hope it's going to be one of the 10, something in the 27-17 neighborhood. I don't think it'll be a blowout. But if it is a close game, well, they've learned to win close games this year. And yeah, they didn't win the playoff game, but again, they won 11. They won 11 one-score games. They know how to do this shit. So if they are in a game that's close here on Sunday, I don't think they're going to panic. And I don't think they panicked in the playoff game. I just think you're not always going to pull it out. But they're going for the first back-to-back playoff seasons in over a decade since Brett Favre came in here and got us in there in 2009. That's a long time. Like we make the playoffs a lot, but we don't seem to follow them up. That's been maybe the most disappointing thing with the Vikings over the last decade or so, is we have a good season and then we don't follow it up. We don't follow up 2009. If you want to call 2012 fluky, we didn't follow that up at all. We didn't follow up in 15, 15 to 16. We didn't follow up 17 to 18. We didn't follow up 19 to 20. Hopefully we can follow up this one and get in the playoffs again, because again, I think the NFC is very wide open this year. I don't see Philadelphia being anywhere near as dominant as they were last year, and there's questions with San Francisco, and who knows what team might pop up, and maybe the Lions will pop up. But I think we can take the Lions, and I think we can take anyone else if we're playing our best football. And they weren't in the playoffs last year, so that sucked. But you don't need to have the absolute best defense in football to win, but you have to have some kind of defense. I mean, that was like the worst defense that has maybe ever made it to the playoffs. And I'd hope the Vikings can do some great things this year and change the narrative, but I feels like the narrative is just set in stone no matter what they do, because I don't know what it is. It's just hatred of the Vikings, hatred of Kirk Cousins. It seems like no matter what they do, if they do something good, they never get credit for it. And I know that it doesn't really matter if they get media credit. It drives me insane, because it just week after week, like last year, they're winning these games, they're winning these awesome games in exciting fashion, and then it's just, oh well, they've won close. What's wrong with them? Why they're no good? They're frauds. And then it seeps down into the fan base, and then you got to hear it from the fans, so-called fans, who they can't even just watch and enjoy the team and enjoy the success. They gotta pile on the frauds bandwagon. It's frustrating, and I hope that doesn't happen again. I hope, obviously I'd love it if we were pulling a 98 and just killing everybody, but that's not realistic. I think this is a playoff team. I think this is a 10-7 team, and I think this is a team that will win a playoff game. I do officially have them winning a playoff game, and going from there, keeping the competitive rebuild going, and again, wide open NFC. If Flores is an absolute magic worker, yes, this team can compete for a Super Bowl. If he's just good and is able to do a good job of kind of making the defense a little more competitive, they probably don't have a Super Bowl ceiling, but they certainly have a playoff ceiling. So I've rambled long enough, and I haven't really said anything too interesting, so I'm just going to stop and let's go beat up Tampa Bay and start 1-0.